I confronted the children, demanding to know what they knew.
We don't know anything.
They denied everything, their faces blank masks of innocence. But their eyes betrayed them, flickering with a knowledge they were too afraid to reveal. S3, we swear.
Desperate, I turned to Mrs. Gross, sharing my discoveries about Quint and Miss Jessel.
To my relief, she believed me.
Together, we devised a plan to protect the children, to break the hold the ghosts had over them. We would stay close, never letting them out of our sight. We would fill their days with light and laughter, driving out the darkness that clung to them. We would fight for their souls, for their innocence, for their lives. But our efforts seemed to anger the spirits even more, intensifying their presence. The ghostly apparitions grew bolder with each passing night, their eerie laughter echoing through the darkened halls and their icy fingers brushing against our skin, sending chills down our spines. The children, caught in the middle of this supernatural turmoil, retreated further into themselves, their eyes vacant, their smiles strained, as if they were losing touch with reality.
One night, as a fierce storm raged outside, shaking the very foundations of the house, I saw Quint standing ominously at the foot of Miles's bed. His eyes burned with an unholy light, filled with malevolence, and his voice was a guttural rasp as he whispered sinister words to the boy. I screamed, rushing to protect Miles, but Quint vanished into thin air, leaving only a chilling silence.
Miles lay trembling in his bed, his face pale and sweat-drenched, his body shaking uncontrollably. He looked at me with a mixture of fear and defiance, his voice a mere whisper as he said,
He's here, the Master. He's come for us. We can't escape him.
Terror gripped my heart. Quint was possessing Miles, using him as a vessel to relive his own twisted desires. And Miss Jessel, I realized with a shudder, was doing the same with Flora, her spirit clinging to the young girl like a shroud, suffocating her innocence. We found her at the lake, standing by the water's edge, her hand outstretched towards the figure of Miss Jessel, who seemed to beckon her. The woman in grey turned, her face a mask of sorrow and longing, as if trapped in eternal despair. And then, with a final heart-wrenching cry, she and Flora disappeared into the mist, leaving us in utter shock. S1, driven to desperation, I decided to remove the children from Bly, to take them away from the clutches of the vengeful spirits that haunted the manor. But as I prepared for our departure, Flora vanished, as if swallowed by the very mist that had taken her before. Miles, witnessing his sister's fate, was overcome with grief and terror. His eyes were wide with fear, and his small hands trembled uncontrollably. He collapsed in my arms, his small body racked with sobs. I could feel his heart pounding against my chest, each beat a desperate cry for help.
As I held him close, I felt a cold hand grip my shoulder, and Quint's voice whispered in my ear, sending chills down my spine.
They are ours now. You cannot save them. The words echoed in my mind, a cruel reminder of my helplessness.
Miles went limp in my arms, his strength fading away like a dying ember. When I looked down, his eyes were vacant, his face a mask of peace. It was as if he had found solace in the midst of the chaos. He was gone, his spirit claimed by the darkness that haunted Bly. The shadows seemed to close in around us, suffocating the last remnants of hope. I was left alone, surrounded by the silence, the truth of what happened as elusive as the ghosts themselves. The air was thick with unanswered questions. Were they real, these spectres that haunted Bly? Or were they merely reflections of our deepest fears? Or were they figments of my own imagination, born of loneliness and fear? The line between reality and illusion blurred. The answer, I fear, died with Miles, leaving me forever haunted by the ghosts of Bly. Their presence lingered, a constant reminder of the tragedy that unfolded.